Hey, welcome to my channel. My name is Han and I am a senior product designer here in Toronto. Today we'll be talking about the steps you need to take to prepare for an effective presentation, whether that presentation is to convince someone of something or to spur inspiration. These are some things that I usually think about before coming up with the content of any given presentation. I'm going to be presenting this in the lens of sort of W5H, which is the 5 W's of why, who, what, when, where. I love this because it's just so much easier to remember than having to go through and maybe even create a checklist. So the number one thing that you need to get very clear on before you even booked this meeting is to understand your why. Why do you need to call together this meeting and invite the people that you need to have either in the room or in the meeting? The content of a deck that needs an action item or needs to influence a decision is very different from something that is going to inspire someone, and that will change also based on who is attending, which I will talk about. The next step is understanding who you'll be inviting. And the reason why you need to understand who you're inviting is so that you can convey the information and include the content that will help your audience, CEO level or fellow designers, understand and meet your why, meet your goal. Influencing a C-level executive will include a much more reliance on data, on numbers, on results, on revenue forecasts, in order to influence a decision or even to inform, because at that level, that is the information that they most rely on. And then trying to get feedback from your designers is going to be different than getting feedback from engineers or even maybe your boss. So understanding who you're going to be inviting and what information they need in order to meet your why, in order to meet your goal of this meeting. Remember to tailor your content to the audience that is going to be attending, as well as marrying it with your purpose, your reason, your goal. You cannot have the same presentation for your designers or fellow designers as you would if you were trying to communicate to the company, right? There's a difference in terms of the subject matter experts that are in the room. Designers will understand design terms. However, when you are speaking to a larger group, you do want to use more basic terms, or if you're going to be using specialized terms, to break it down or to define it so that everyone is understanding what you are meaning by the language that you're using in your presentation. The next is, where will this meeting take place? I totally understand in today's world it is going to be mostly remote, but even then you have to think about, is it going to be Google Meet, Zoom? There are certain functionalities of each that might better facilitate your presentation. Miro is also another place that you can hold this meeting. Are you going to be using Keynotes? Are you going to be using Google Slides? And so thinking about that, or if in your area there is already offices reopening, does it make sense for this to be more of an in-person? If you're trying to inspire, a lot of the times it's much easier to send across a message and kind of exert that energy, that enthusiasm in person rather than through a screen. You might also decide to do this as a pre-recorded presentation. You can use Loom as well as Slack to walk through either a presentation deck or have it for future reference if it's an onboarding for new hires. I always find that really helpful because then it does become evergreen content and you don't have to give the same presentation over and over and over, which could be repetitive for the facilitator. So I think we're on like the 4th or the 5th W now. It's when should you have this meeting? I know the default is always going to be 30 or 60 minutes, but remember, in that time, your real presentation time is only about 70% of that, if 75 at most. So if you're having a 30-minute slot to talk, if it's in between other presentations, then that's great, but there's still some context setting that you need to do. So the time that you're setting is not always the full time you're going to get, because there's going to be questions, you want to introduce yourself, you want to kind of, give the background of some certain thing. And so always account for a little bit more buffer time, especially if folks are coming in from other meetings. You definitely want to make sure that you're talking and delivering enough content, but also not inundating with, either your the amount of information, or speaking too fast to fit everything in. And also conversely, you want to make sure that it is precise in terms of timing. You don't want to take up a full hour for something that could have taken 30 minutes, or I mean, better off being an email, which is that meme that we always see. So thinking about the duration and when, I always find the earlier the better, because the sooner you have a meeting in context of the work that you're doing, it does drive a bigger impact because the information is fresh in your mind and you are able to answer questions much more in depth, rather than a few months down the line talking about a feature or a function that you built months ago and not really understanding or remembering, because just the memory recall is a little bit tougher down the road. Details of something if questions do arise. And all of that will lead you to your what. So what is it that you're going to include in your presentation? What kind of information are you going to be sharing? Do you need to get a consensus? Do you need to influence a decision? Do you need to inspire someone? You really have to understand what it is that your goal is and start from there before, again, even starting on the content of this meeting. But you should also remember to spend a lot of time setting the context of your presentation. So not just jumping into the sort of meat of the information and what it is that you need to drive through. You have to sort of set the context, because a lot of folks are not going to follow what it is that you are trying to tell them. They're not in that mind space with you yet, so you kind of have to bring them along so that they end up in the same kind of starting place, and then you're able to talk about the problem statement. Hopefully that will help you, again, come closer to your why. So this is like my secret sauce to creating and formulating the best presentations, most effective ones, the ones that get a lot of really good feedback. And so I thought I'd share with you. If this helps you, leave a comment below and let me know if you've tried it or if you're stuck on a certain step. Otherwise, I hope you enjoyed and found some value in this video. I will see you next time. Bye-bye. Oh, and I forgot to mention, I have a bonus download, sort of like a one-pager PDF thing down below summarizing all the points that I've mentioned in this video. So feel free to take a look, download it if you need it, just so you can refer back to it when you are formulating your next presentation. If you enjoy this video, give me a thumbs up, and feel free to subscribe if you'd like more valuable content around career, UX, design, life. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.